what are some things that you think would help people find their compatibility, like even assess that? Does anything come to mind for you on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think talking about your values, and not just in like a one liner or one word, but to really talk about what you mean by it, right?
Yeah.
So like for
Like
example,
draw out real world scenarios.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think having a like kind of a running dialogue around it. So like it's interesting, like as a church, you and I and a few other people established our values before we even named the church. And we came up with at the time 6, but now 7 core values. And they're words, that if I said them all, probably everybody would go, yeah.
Right, of course.
But it's like, well, what do you mean by it though?
Exactly.
So like to this day, I mean, we're, 13 years in as a church. Every month, like we have staff members that have been here 12 years.
Yeah.
Every month we get together and we talk about what these values mean.
Yeah.
And what they mean to us and where we see them and are we aligned to them and are we not and all of that. Like, because behind a word, whether it's communication or honesty or
Collaboration.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever values you have, hey, I want somebody who's independent.
Well, yeah. Well, what does that mean
What
to
do you mean by that?
Yes.
Okay, someone who has an identity of their own or a life outside of me. Okay, cool.
Paint me a picture of what that looks like.
Let's talk about
Yes.
that and what are the potential liabilities
Yes.
of that. And okay, at what point is that going to not be good? Do you like that all the time and why? And blah, blah, blah. Like, I think a lot of those things, like in terms of compatibility, let's take some of these concepts
Yeah.
and unpack them more. And then I think you start to find out, hey, are we aligned around, how we see the world?
Yeah.
And not even that, like, we have to agree on everything. Again, I think one of the great things about our relationship, you have made me so much better. Like, you have made me think about things, look at things from perspectives I never would have thought. I'm a very,
That goes
very,
both ways.
very different and better person.
Same.
Because you have done that, right?
Challenged my thinking on things.
Yeah, but like here's an example. Like, there hasn't been one conversation, no matter how hard it was, no matter how even uncomfortable it was, that you shut down. Like you go there. Like, you will entertain. Maybe I might bring up something totally counter to how you were raised or what you've always thought. It may be counterintuitive, and you'll go there. You will go there and you'll think about it and you'll consider that it might be true. Now, you may not accept it. You may come back and go, I don't agree with that. But like, you'll go there. You won't shut down. That is, to me, that's a huge part of compatibility. I would go nuts if I was married to someone and I'm questioning something and I'm bringing it up and they won't even go there. They won't even go there. Like, you'll enter that. You'll try it on for size as well. You'll try to blow it full of holes and see if it can stand up. And to me, that is like the bond over that. That is bonding. Like, we connect so much through that. So again, that would be for me.
You've helped me get better at doing that too. And even just learning how to process some of those thoughts and, because you do it as well, and so I think we are a really good match on that front. Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's so important. Like, again, I would, if it's been a huge tool in our relationship. It's something I really, really value. But I think I would feel kind of alone not being able to share that with you.
Yeah.
So I think, again, for me, that type of thing's perfect. I think it is important. And I think for a lot of people, you got to kind of know, like, what do I value? And, because again, some people like the strong, silent type, that doesn't, they don't really talk. It's like, no, I'll do that with my girls or whatever. And that may be totally fine for them. They may not, they may not need that to bond or connect or, again, we have lives separate from each other and you have, ways of recouping without me and vice versa. And,
Right.
But to me, it's like, it's some of those things I want to share with you. So I think talking about, like, and really thinking through what are your values, and then not just having those be one word, but having them really be a running conversation and find out, or when we say the same word, do we mean the same thing?
Yeah, you know what? It actually just brought to mind. So Brandon, our producer, and I were just talking before the episode started, and we were talking about this a little bit. And so, like, for example, the word adventure, like being adventurous. Are you adventurous? Well, of course. You're like, yes, I'm adventurous. Well, one person's idea of adventurous might be thinking about, like, we go on vacations and we go to kind of a faraway place or whatever. And the other person, you know, Brandon brought up, he's like, you know, Greg had said before that when you guys met, Shaylyn, you were in school for broadcast journalism, and you really wanted to go be a war reporter. Like, you wanted to be on the front line. To me, that's adventurous, right? And he's like, my wife would never want to do that. That's not, she's a different kind of adventurous. She's still adventurous for sure. I mean, heck, she was on The Voice. Like, she's lives a big, full life. But she's a very different kind of person. And so I think.
Yeah, one person adventurous might be, we're going to go on a vacation to a place we've never been. We want to see the world. Another person, it's, I'm going to take a huge risk in my career.
Exactly.
That's going to put all of our money on the line.
Yeah.
It's going to put that's two different types of.
Exactly. You have to draw out, like, what does that mean to you? Heck, even within talking about vacations, like, that seems like such a, you know, minor thing, but, like, it is something you're going to do together probably many times long term, hopefully. But, you know, it's like one person, an adventurous vacation might be, we go to a place we've never been before, and the other person is like, I'm sending you links to go. We could go gorilla trekking. We could go shark diving. You're like, how about not? You know, let's stay on the beach. So even just understanding, it's not that you have to be 100% aligned on all of those things, but some of those things, like if your idea of adventurous is, like you said, the big career moves that are going to require both of you to kind of be all in on this lift.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not even the whole financial risk, but, like, for example, I want to pursue this thing in my career that means I'm not going to have a lot of margin in my life for a period of time, maybe a few years. And so are you independent enough of a person, not just, you know, not that you would do something for me, because that could end up leading to resentment, that you, like, just kind of stuck it out while I did medical school or built this business or whatever. But, like, no, you're totally cool leading your life and kind of carrying the majority of the load on some of these other things that are related to our family, our home front, whatever. You know, if you don't have somebody that's on the same page with you, that is going to absolutely destroy your relationship.
Yeah. I think you also need to be very, very honest with yourself.
Yes.
When you're attracted to someone, are you really attracted to who they are and want to help them become all they can be in that area? Or are you you're attracted to this, but now I want to come and possess it and essentially make it work for me or domesticate that person, right? So you'll see it a lot.
You know, you're hitting on my ultimate pet peeve. Keep going.
No, you can.
No, I want to hear your take on this.
So you'll see a lot of times maybe it happens. It's both genders.
Both genders.
You see. I'll speak from a guy's perspective. Right? Men, they see this woman. Right? She's out there. She's going for it. You know, she's assertive and proactive and you know, she's ambitious. She's got zest for life, man. She's ambitious. She's out there making it happen. And so they're attracted by those traits. But then what they want to do is take her and essentially muzzle her.
Yeah.
Just now you come and I'm going to possess you and I'm going to confine you.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, when you found her, when you met her, she was out, you know, with dreams and hopes, and she was making stuff happen. Now you want to come in here and bring her in here. And then what often happens is they domesticate that person down to their liking.
Yes.
Then that person now ceases to be as attractive to them. Now they're attracted to the next person out here who's got the tiger by the tail and is out taking adventures because you brought this person in and tried to make her something. And so now she's become less attractive to you.
Yeah.
You see the same with women. Women will see a guy, man, this guy is whatever. He's out there going for it. And so, you know, he's taking risks. He's fighting lions. And then they want him to come in now and take all of those wild traits and I'm not saying that those traits sometimes don't need some maturity, We
Yeah.
do pull each other in.
Agreed.
You know, you've helped smooth out some of my rough edges, help me think.
Vice
So
versa.
we make each other better, but to not take this person, the thing you attracted, and then take it away.
Yes.
In the marriage, like, I need to be honest. If I married someone, that was actually when we were dating, I wanted to marry you, but I was actually the one saying, you know what, let's wait a while, because I knew you had dreams and hopes and things you wanted to do. And what I didn't want was for you to go and make a long-term decision in the short term,
Right.
that you were going to look back and go, man, I married Greg, and I wanted to be on the front lines of the war with reporting, and here I am, taking care of this guy's Monstera plant, it's actually your Monstera plant, but you get the idea. Like, I didn't want that for you.
Right.
So, like, to me, even throughout our marriages, I've been very much saying, what's in your
very
heart? What do you
supportive
want to
of-
do?
yeah.
And how can I support that? And vice versa. Like, I think it's a big mistake. Like, count the cost. If you're attracted to somebody who's, has these certain traits, when you marry them, are you wanting to throw gasoline on that fire and help them be all that they can be? Or are you just attracted to them and now you want to take them and possess them? One last thought on this. I did, when I was studying for the series on love, I heard a guy talking about black holes. And he was talking about, like, the science of black holes, right? They're all over the, universe, right? And so, but what black holes do, and we know, like, stuff can't get out of it, but what it does is the gravitational pull is so intense, it disintegrates whatever it sucks in, right? Even light. So if light goes into a black hole, it takes the elements of light, and the gravitational pull is so intense, it pulls those elements apart. And so it's no longer light. If it sucked water into it, the gravitational pull would take, the H2O and break them apart. And so it ceases to be what it is. And I heard a guy talking about how bad relationships are like black holes.
Yeah.
They take who you are and all these elements that maybe I saw and it was attractive, but when you got close to me, you disintegrated.
Yeah.
I pulled you apart from who you were.
Yeah.
Instead of a cell mentality, which is, no, I want to split. I want you to be able to be more of, right, who God's made you to be and multiply. And so I think in compatibility, it's like, do I really know who that person is? And do I want to be a part of helping them achieve their full God-given potential and purpose?
100%.
Or am I just wanting to possess them?
Yes. And I mean, you and I have had this discussion many times, and I've gotten passionate about it at times, because I think that is the cruelest thing that you can do to another person, especially someone you claim to love, is to do something to them that pulls apart at the very threads of who they are. And obviously there are other ways to do it, but that is such an ugly, horrible thing to do to someone. And for some reason, I think we've sanctioned that in society. And it's like other things we're like, well, it's not okay to do that to people. It's not okay to physically abuse them or sexually abuse someone or whatever. But like somehow it's okay, and we don't see it as abuse for someone to take the elements of someone and the very essence of who they are and their spark in life and want to just own it and suck it in for ourselves instead of just supporting it and the other person and feeding into it. When I married you, I didn't want to, shape you into something. That's one of my biggest pet peeves with women. Please stop doing this to men and treating them like projects. Like, I just can't take it, because people are not projects. People are whole human beings. And yes, we all have to keep working on ourselves. We are our own projects that we're responsible for. I'm not responsible to shape you into some other image. That's between you and God. That's not my business. And so when I see someone take on another person and go, well, I see potential in them, whatever. If you think the potential is there for you to mold, walk away. Mm-hmm. You're not being fair. You're not being kind. You're going to be the cruelest person in that other person's life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so unfair.
I think that's, sorry,
Go for it.
You look
Go
like
for
you're
it.
going to change subjects.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I was just going to say, I think we need to view ourselves as the greatest cheerleader in the other person's life. That for me, kind of the visual that has stuck with me is like, I get to have a front row seat to your life. I have the best seat in the house, and I get to cheer for you. Sometimes you ask me for input on whatever, but like, I'm not the director. I just have the best view in the house to watch how you've unfolded as a human being over 20 years, and what a privilege.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm by no means perfect. Nobody is. We aren't. Our marriage is not perfect. But I think that's been one of the healthiest things for us, is that we genuinely just want the absolute best for one another, and we want each person to find the truest, spark-filled, beautiful, peaceful version of ourselves.
Yeah, I would say for someone listening to this, if this has any application in your relationship, you need to ask yourself, am I trying to possess that person, or am I trying to propel that person?
Yes.
Am I trying to possess them or propel them? And I think the key is you have to get to the core of your insecurity.
Yes.
Because if I'm insecure, then you being propelled, right, to new levels will be a threat to me, because I'll worry.
It will inflame my insecurity.
It'll inflame my insecurity. I'll worry that if you get too high and go too far and
You
get
won't
too
need
big,
me.
you're
You
not
won't
going to
want
need
me.
me or want me anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so in doing that, I might even fool myself into thinking that I'm loving you well
By pulling you down.
by pulling you down
Yeah.
and holding you close. And it's like C.S. Lewis says, he goes, what people often call love is not love. It's a desire to be loved.
Right.
So if I crave to be loved by you,
Right.
more than I actually love you, which is wanting you to bloom and blossom and propel into your greatest potential, then what I'll try to do is possess you.
Yeah.
And in so doing, it'll stifle you. And now it's really about me. So to get to the root of that insecurity, to the core of that insecurity, really sets you up for success. Otherwise, the self-deception is endless.
Yeah.
And then the casualty is you and
us.
me too, right?
Yeah.
Our relationship becomes a shell of what it could be.
Yeah. And I think it's also really harmful for the person that is, I hate to use the word instigator, because I don't want to shame people for that. I want people to feel open to evaluating that about themselves. But I think it's also really bad for the person that is trying to control the narrative, trying to control the other person, because you're not getting to live in the fullness of your life without insecurity ruling who you are.
Right.
It's unfair to everyone. The greatest gift that you can give yourself, the other person, and the relationship is to give everyone that freedom to be the best version of themselves.
When you're bound in insecurity, it really is counterintuitive, because you tend to think, well, if I do shame the person, oh, you're always with them, you never care about me. You tend to think that somehow is pulling them closer, or that it's keeping them with you, but it's such a turnoff.
Yeah.
So by really honestly being open-handed, by being someone's biggest source of propulsion, or like you said, their biggest cheerleader, their biggest encourager, okay, and letting go, it actually makes you more attractive. That person, it's actually creating more value. You're the wind beneath their wings, right? You're the one that's building them up. You're the one that's, able to play a role in their life no one else can play.
Yep.
And yet the thing that stops that is insecurity. It absolutely is debilitating.
Yeah.
And it's death in relationship. Even if the relationship stays together and committed, it just kills what the relationship could be.